Thanks, Lisa.
That'll do it for News 2 at 5, and we'll see you back here at 6.
Good night.
On World News tonight, the Bush administration admits that a vital argument for going to war against Iraq was not true. The African leaders want to know if Mr. Bush will send troops to stop the killing in Liberia. The president's tax cut is beginning to show up. Will $3 extra stimulate the national economy? And the sisters who died for the chance to live apart.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening, everyone. We begin tonight with an admission from the Bush administration that one important argument for going to war in Iraq was based on bogus information. In his State of the Union address earlier this year, arguing for war, President Bush said that Iraq was seeking to buy uranium in Africa to make nuclear weapons. Now, the White House has said he should not have made that claim and conceded that some of the information was forged. ABC's Martha Raddatz starts us off from Washington tonight. Martha, much of this information, judged to be bogus, was done so publicly some time ago.
That's right, Peter. In fact, the CIA was warned long ago that this information was not true.
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
It was one of the most important speeches in the build-up to war. But today, a senior White House official told ABC News that this key statement should not have been included.
The British government has learned that Saddam Hussein recently sought significant quantities of uranium from Africa.
So why back away from the statement now? The man who investigated the uranium claims for the U.S. government has gone public. Ambassador Joseph Wilson says that nearly a year before the speech, he reported to the CIA that the claims were bogus.
Well, I came to the conclusion that it was literally impossible for this to have taken place in the absence of a broad conspiracy.
But for months, senior administration officials have said that they didn't know the information the president used at the time was suspect.
The intelligence community did not know at that time or at levels that got to us that that there were serious questions about this report.
But a senior intelligence official tells ABC News that in March of 2002, when Ambassador Wilson finished his investigation, the CIA sent a classified cable to all the appropriate agencies, including the White House, State Department, Defense Department, raising serious doubts about the uranium allegations. Yet 10 months later, the president presented the allegations as fact.
He heard it from someone. Who did they hear it from? This needs to be looked at, because for the president to be misled and for the nation to be misled in this way is just inexcusable and it's dangerous.
The White House is giving no information about how this got into the speech, Peter, or who suggested that it be put in there.
Martha, there's still some other claims, including a link with al-Qaeda, that are still in contention, right?
That's right, Peter. In fact, officials say it makes it much worse because there are no specifics about any link between al-Qaeda and Iraq. And in fact, there have been no weapons of mass destruction, as you know, found in Iraq.
Many thanks. Martha Raddatz in Washington tonight. Under certain circumstances, this admission by the administration might have serious political consequences, but this is a popular president. Let's go to Capitol Hill and Linda Douglas. Linda, the toughest statement of the day on this subject came from Senator Kennedy of Massachusetts.
Well, he really did, Peter. Very strong words. He said we may now be learning that this war was based on deliberate deception or outright lies. And another Democrat, Senator Rockefeller, said that this has clearly hurt the president's credibility. But they are in the minority. Most of the Democrats are still loath to criticize the president, Peter, because the war is still popular at home, and so is the president.
And is it making a difference among the president's critics or even his supporters that Americans are being killed every day in Iraq?
Well, the supporters are saying that right now these revelations about the intelligence may not be hurting the president yet. But they say that by the end of this summer, if the United States is still bogged down in Iraq, American soldiers are still being killed, there is still instability and it is worsening, then they say even the supporters will start asking questions about how we got into the war in the first place, Peter.
Thanks, Linda. Linda Douglas on Capitol Hill. British Prime Minister Tony Blair was forced to defend himself again today over allegations that he misled the British about the necessity of attacking Iraq. Mr. Blair told the parliamentary committee he still believes weapons of mass destruction will be found. His critics accuse the Prime Minister of inflating the intelligence to justify going to war. In the Middle East today, two television news organizations, Al Jazeera and Lebanese Broadcasting, have broadcast what they say is a new audio tape message from Saddam Hussein. However, portions of it were identical to a tape obtained in May by an Australian newspaper. Whatever the confusion, there is certainly some feeling among Americans in Iraq that the U.S.'s enemies are getting the message to go after Americans. ABC's Dan Harris is in Baghdad.
On a day when 7 American soldiers were wounded by a rocket-propelled grenade, a landmine, and a homemade bomb, the top U.S. official in Iraq admitted it is possible that the Saddam Hussein tapes, real or not, are fueling the attacks.
Having that issue unresolved gives these diehard remnants the opportunity to say to other people, Saddam is still alive and he's going to come back and so forth. Well, he's not going to come back. He may be alive, but he's not going to come back.
Some Iraqis are now openly calling for Hussein's return. I like Saddam, said this man. He didn't hurt us like the Americans do. This graffiti in Baghdad says, yes, Saddam. Even if Saddam Hussein is alive, U.S. Administrator Paul Bremer said today there's no indication that Hussein is coordinating the recent attacks. In fact, Bremer says there appears to be no central command and control at all. Today, the coalition announced a $2,500 reward for information leading to the arrest of those who attack coalition forces.
The minimum is $2,500. Who knows how high it can be? I want those people off the streets, and I think that's one way to do it.
Many Iraqis who work with the Americans, including translators for the troops, are nervous.
Yeah, I heard so many rumors. If anyone cooperate with the American forces or with the American soldiers or with the foreigners, he'll get shot.
She says she won't quit, though, for the same reason that hundreds come out every day to train as security guards for the troops. They simply need the money. Just like this. Dan Harris, ABC News, Baghdad.
President Bush began his tour of Africa today with a one-day visit to Senegal, and he has just now arrived at the second location, South Africa. There are large and important issues for each of the 5 individual countries he'll stop in. There are regional issues, and those such as AIDS, which have an impact on the continent as a whole. And today, many people are focused on the civil war in Liberia. What will President Bush do about that? ABC's John Cochran is traveling with him.
In Senegal, President Bush found that West African leaders wanted a quick answer from him. Will he send American forces to Liberia as part of a peacekeeping force? Mr. Bush made no guarantees.
We'll participate in the process, and we're now in the process of determining what that means.
In the Liberian capital, Monrovia, today, crowds welcomed the small Pentagon team President Bush has sent in to answer crucial questions. How safe would American troops be? What would the rules of engagement be? And will the president, Charles Taylor, really leave the country as President Bush has demanded?
While the president was in Senegal, word came that not all Liberians would welcome American troops. President Taylor's forces, waving guns, prevented the American team from entering a refugee camp. Liberia is still a dangerous place.
Much of the president's day was all about history. Hundreds of thousands of slaves who were sent to America left Africa from this island off Senegal. Today, President Bush stood at the so-called Door of No Return, where they were loaded onto slave ships.
One of the largest migrations of history was also one of the greatest crimes of history.
And when Mr. Bush spoke of opposing tyranny in Africa, many thought he was speaking of Liberia.
The United States seeks to bring peace where there is conflict, hope where there's suffering, and liberty where there's tyranny.
This from a president who once said he opposed American intervention on this continent. John Cochran, ABC News, with the president in Africa.
One other item from Africa, there's been a very bad plane crash in Sudan. A Boeing 737 crashed in the northern part of the country. There were more than 100 people on board, and only a child is known to have survived. Officials in Sudan say the pilot reported technical problems very shortly after takeoff. When we come back, the killing spree at a Mississippi plant today. Co-workers say there were warning signs. These young women lived their lives together, and they died apart. We'll take a closer look tonight at the daring attempt to separate the conjoined twins. And your money tonight. The tax cuts start to reach Americans. Will the economy be revived.
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Brought to you by Lincoln Mercury.
It's the unexpected touches that make an anniversary special. Announcing the Lincoln Mercury Anniversary Clearance, featuring end-of-the-model year savings on every Lincoln and Mercury, including our great lineup of SUVs. Lincoln Navigator, the all-new Lincoln Aviator, and the award-winning Mercury Mountaineer with no-charge leather seating. Now get 0% financing for 60 months or up to $4,000 cash back, plus your dealer's best model year-end price. This is one anniversary you don't want to miss. Hurry to your Lincoln Mercury dealer.
A Minute Maid mom. You're just like everyone else, except for the standard issue eyes in the back of your head and a keen sense of what your child needs. Minute Maid Premium Orange Juice, now with calcium and vitamin D. For moms who know, it's Minute Maid.
Hey, Bob, you get a new haircut?
No.
Hey, Bob.
Hey.
Did you lose weight?
Nope.
What's different? He finally asked his doctor about Viagra. Find out if a free sample is right for you.
Did you just talk to the doctor?
Yep.
Ask your doctor and see the difference.
Gotta go right now. Gotta go. Gotta go right now. Gotta go.
I have to go now. Sorry.
If you've always got to go, ask your doctor about Detrol LA. It's been proven effective for overactive